Good morning, students. Today we are going to start our next chapter, and the name of the chapter is our environment. Environment simply is the space which surround us. Environment contain living and non-living component, or we can say the area where we live can be summarized as environment. So there are different activities, or there are different human activities that will lead to damaging the environment, or we can say by adding the waste our environment is degraded. So human activities produce a lot of waste material which are thrown away into environment. These waste cause pollution of air, water and soil. The waste material produced are of two main types. They are biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. Biodegradable waste are the waste which are decomposed into harmless substance by microorganism. Example: vegetable, fruit, pulses, cereals, cotton, jute, wool. And non-biodegradable waste are the waste which are not decomposed by microorganisms. For example, plastic, polythene, DDT are the example of non-biodegradable waste. Now, ecosystem and its component. Ecosystem consists of all living organism in an area with the non-living organism and their interaction. Means when there is interaction between living and non-living component, then it will lead to formation ecosystem. And for example, plants take carbon dioxide from the environment. Carbon dioxide is a non-living component, air is a non-living component. Plant take water for photosynthesis, plant take sunlight for photosynthesis. So these are the example by which we can relate ecosystem. There are two different type of ecosystem: natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Natural ecosystems are those which are designed by nature, means human activities and human efforts are not involved in this. For example, forest, desert, ocean, river, lake. And artificial ecosystem are you can say those ecosystem in which human activities are involved for formation of biotic component. For example, park, crops, aquarium and zoo. Now, component of an ecosystem. An ecosystem consists of two main components: the biotic component and abiotic component. Biotic component are the living component, for example, plant, animal and microbe. And biotic component can be categorized into three main categories: producers, consumers and decomposers. Producers are the green plants which prepare their food by the process photosynthesis, and consumer are those substances which take the food, or you can say consumer are those organisms which take the food from other organisms. And for example, herbivores directly take the food from plants, grasses. And carnivores are those animals which take the food by other animals, means they eat flesh as a food. So next is omnivorous. Omnivores are those organisms which directly depend upon plants and for food requirement for plants and animals. Now, third category is decomposers. Decomposers are the organisms which decompose dead plants and animal, and they help in breakdown of complex organic substance into simpler one, means bacteria, fungi or earthworm. They break down the complex food material into simpler one. Next, food chain. Food chain is the flow of food energy from one organism to the next, and so on. They usually start with the producer and end with the carnivorous. Means if we study a food chain running in an ecosystem, at the base producers will be there. For example, grass produce the food with the help of photosynthesis, and grass is intaken by deer or eat up by deer, and further lion intake the food from deer. So this is the example of a simplest food chain. Grass as a producer utilized by insect. Second food chain, I am discussing the second food chain. Grass as a producer intake by insects or grasshopper. These insects are further intake by frog, and then frog is eaten up by snake. Snake are the tertiary consumer, frog are the secondary consumer, and insect are the primary consumer, and grass are the producers. So grass and plants are autotrophic organism. They prepare their food itself, but other animals directly dependent upon the producers, so they are categorized in consumer. The animals which directly depend upon plants are known as primary consumer, and further secondary consumer, and at the end tertiary and quaternary consumer is there. We can see in third food chain, grass eaten by moth, and moth is just like a butterfly insect, and moth is further used by frog as a food, and frog is used by snake, and snake further intake by used by hawk or eagle. So we can see in this slide there are different food chain and their sample. In the first area we can see terrestrial food chain. Terrestrial food chain contain plant, herbivorous, carnivorous, and top carnivorous. And in marine food chain we can see phytoplankton, zooplankton, carnivora, and top fishes, predator fishes are there. So in sample food chain area we can see there are grassland biome, pond biome, and ocean. Means there are grassland ecosystem, pond ecosystem, and ocean ecosystem. In this three different food chains are running. We can see in grassland ecosystem grasses, further grasshopper, rat, snake, and hawk. And in pond ecosystem algae, mosquito larva, dragonfly, fish, and raccoon. And in ocean ecosystem phytoplankton, zooplankton, fishes, seal, white shark. So these are categorized on the basis of their level, means primary producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, quaternary consumer. In the last corner we can see producer are you can say plants, and producers are further intake by primary consumer moth, secondary consumer are frog, and tertiary consumer is snake, and top here we can see hawk and eagle is there. And these are some different sample food chain that are existing in an ecosystem. Now food web. Food web is the interconnected food chain. Means when food chain is interconnected at several points, or we can say food web is composed of different food chain. So or in other word we can define as food web is the network of food chain. We can see in this slide, and in this slide we can see one organism is dependent upon multiple different organisms for its food requirement. Simple food web here is given. Plant can be utilized by grasshopper, caterpillar, or some different insects, and further this grasshopper or caterpillar is further intake by different animals, the red with the red arrow given here, and this rat and sparrow can be further used by predator. And in the black and white food chain we can see different plants producers are there, and different animals dependent upon this producers. We can see rat, grasshopper, butterfly, moth, and further this grasshopper is and butterfly can be intake by frog, and further frog can be used by snake, and further snake can be intake by hawk and eagle. So we can see at different levels these organisms has different option for getting the food. They have multiple food options. Next, trophic level. Each food chain has a specific steps. Means food chain has producer at the base, and further herbivorous, then carnivorous, then top carnivorous. So each step in a food chain from where the food is transferred from one organism to next organism, this is known as trophic level. The first trophic level consists of producer, the second trophic level consists of primary consumer, and the third trophic level consists of secondary consumer, and the top one, the fourth trophic level, consists of tertiary consumer. Since the transfer of food energy decreases at every trophic level, the number of trophic level are limited and do not exceed 4 or 5. We can see in the lower slide area, producers are placed at the base of a pyramid. So they are categorized as the first trophic level, and the herbivorous means the plant, the organism that obtain the food as a plant. They are placed at we can see second trophic level, and further primary consumer are placed at third trophic level, and top are placed at tertiary consumer are placed at the top of the pyramid. So producers, primary consumers, secondary consumer and tertiary consumers are given here, and they form ecological pyramids. Now we can see producers and consumer. Here sunlight help in the manufacturing of here sunlight help in the formation of food by producer, and producers are further intake by primary consumer, secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. So we can represent the different organism into a specific area or at a specific trophic level. So next, now energy flow in trophic level. The energy flow in trophic level is also definite or fixed. The amount of energy transferred from one trophic level to the next trophic level is only 10%. Means only 10% of the energy is transferred from one trophic level to the successive next trophic level. About 90% of energy is lost to the environment. So we can see, let us take an example. Suppose producers has 1000 kilocalorie energy, then primary consumer will obtain 10% of 1000 kilocalorie, that is 100 kilocalorie will obtained by primary consumer, and further secondary consumer will obtain 10 kilocalorie, and tertiary will only get 1 kilocalorie energy. So here we can see, from moving from one trophic level to next trophic level, only 10% of energy is transferred. Here in the black and white area we can also see suppose producer has 100 unit of energy. So first level consumer will suppose producer have 1000 unit of energy, so first level consumers will have only 100 unit, and second level consumer will only get 10 units, and the top level will get only 1 unit of energy. Next, biomagnification or biological magnification. Biological magnification is the phenomena where harmful chemical substances like insecticide, pesticides which are used by crop from insects and pests are absorbed by plants and enter the food chain. Since these chemicals are non-biodegradable, they get accumulated. Since these chemicals are non-biodegradable, they get accumulated at every trophic level and their concentration increases. Since human beings occupy the highest trophic level, the concentration of the chemical is maximum in our body. The increase in the concentration of harmful chemical follow a definite pattern. We can see, suppose we take aquatic food chain. So DDT is present in water. As we can see, the amount of DDT or you can say the percentage of DDT increases as we move from zooplankton to small fish. Zooplankton has 0.04 ppm DDT. ppm stand for parts per million, and in small fish the amount of DDT will be 0.5. The concentration of DDT increases from one to next trophic level, and in large fish the DDT amount is 2 ppm, and DDT in fish eating bird is 25 ppm. So we can see the amount or the concentration of toxic chemical increases moving from one trophic level to next trophic level. This phenomena is known as biological magnification or biomagnification. As the name suggests, biomagnification, magnify means the amount of chemical or the concentration of chemical increases as we move from one trophic level to next trophic level. Now human activities also affect the environment ozone layer. So if we add more pollution in environment, then the ozone layer will deplete. Ozone molecule contain 3 oxygen atom. At higher level in the atmosphere, the UV radiation splits some oxygen molecule O2 into free oxygen atom, which combine with oxygen molecule to form ozone, it is highly poisonous. That is, when UV light strike the oxygen molecule, then it will you can say split the oxygen molecule into nascent oxygen, and this oxygen molecule further intake the nascent oxygen, and it will lead to the formation of ozone, that is O3. O3 is ozone formula. The ozone layer present in higher layer of atmosphere protect the earth from harmful UV radiation from sun. UV radiation cause skin cancer in human. Ozone layer is being damaged by the use of chemical like chlorofluorocarbon used in refrigerator and fire extinguisher. So use of CFC is now being reduced to protect the ozone layer. Some alternative are also used. CFC alternative are also used so that the level of ozone will be maintained optimally. We can see 0 to 10 km from the surface of earth is troposphere, and further ozone layer is present above troposphere, and 10 to 50 km is the area known as stratosphere. If ozone layer damage, then the UV light will pass from sun and it will strike the earth's surface, and ultraviolet radiation is creating damage in our body, that is, it may lead to some skin cancer or cataract. So these UV rays are blocked by ozone layer. So it is ozone layer play a very important or crucial role for we can say protecting the environment by UV radiation. Now, managing the garbage we produce. The household waste is called as garbage. Some of the garbage is biodegradable and some of are non-biodegradable. Garbage cause pollution of air, water, soil, so it should be disposed properly. Some of the method of garbage disposal are given below. Landfill or recycling can be there. Production of biogas and manure can be. Preparation of compost, inclination method and sewage treatment can be followed for garbage management. We can see in this slide, landfill is the area where we put our waste in deep pit area. Recycling is the process by which the recycled waste can be further used for manufacturing the different component, and some biodegradable waste can be used for the production of biogas and manure, and sometimes it is used for preparing the compost also.